Shawty want romance, fuck with no bromance. You already know, I know, yeah. Shawty want pony, Shawty want romance, fucking no bro, man. Y'all already know, I know, yeah. Snapping like Kodak, she want me so bad. I just want all these hoes, yeah. Oh no, no. Tried to start the flow, yeah. Had to duck and roll. I've been on the go. Running on, thinking I done enough. It's like a wish in a well. Fuck it up, waist like a rubber duck. I got some drip to sell, yeah. Out the face like, who is that? I'm going back to back. They like, oh, it's Jackson, that boy be cracked, that's facts. Always chasing them bags, always on me, them rags. Always chasing the cash, never going outside, never coming in last. It been just me for too long, how can I do wrong? Every beat get flew on. Checks on me like coupons, bitch on the shit get pooed on. Shawty want romance, fucking no bro, man. Y'all already know, I know, yeah. Snapping like Kodak, she want me so bad. I just want all these hoes, yeah. Oh no, no. Tried to start the flow, yeah. Had to duck and roll. I've been on the go. Popped in them up for the summer, yeah. Let some of my homies behind with a bummer. Snakes got mo, got dunner. Smooth little jet like butter. I don't win up like airplane mode. Stacking my chips and you know I don't fold. Throwing still new, I'm still paving these roads. Loving the view, so I'm doing the most. Yeah, walking with the venom, I get 'em. Killing with the pen, got that 'em. All these other rappers, I'ma hit 'em, and the only reason they be on the up, cause I let 'em. Hold on, don't let me flex. No, I got one sad ex. I'm in the front like breast, yes. Know that I got 'em impressed. They know who really are next, yes. Shorty want romance, fucking no bro, man. Y'all already know, I know, yeah. Snapping like Kodak, she want me so bad. I just want all these hoes, yeah. Oh no, no. Tried to start the flow, yeah. Had to duck and roll. I've been on the go. Shawty want romance, fucking no bro, man. Y'all already know, I know, yeah. Snapping like Kodak, she want me so bad. I just want all these hoes, yeah. Oh no, no. Tried to start the flow, yeah. Had to duck and roll. I've been on the go.
Flame suit, French letter, and my girl bad. Gatekeeper says open, I ain't coming back. 15-minute TED talk, collecting 40 rags. 1 million paid in tax, bitch, do the math.
Do the math, bitch, do the math. 1 million paid in tax, bitch, do the math. Do the math, bitch, do the math. 1 million paid in tax, bitch, do the math.
Did the math, I'm baby Johnny Cash. My girl gon' throw it back, that my life is cinemax. Holy hell, this max. I make hits and you make trash. I'm on vacay, do not ask. Poolside eating Apple Jacks. Shut up, bitch. Shut up. Big deal like TJ Maxx. Pop some cataracts. Watch a naughty tag. Nick Cage, how I act. Heavily dislike tax. Got some aces on my feet, never wear a mask. I'm in the cut like a wound. Wake your ass up, make some room. And my girl, coming soon. I don't fuck with honeymoons. Throw some money on my tune. Finesse too hard, I'm feeling Girls love me, they want a spoon. Let me finish, I'll resume. Flame suit, French letter, and my girl bad. Gatekeeper says open, I ain't coming back. 15-minute TED talk, collecting 40 rags. 1 million paid in tax, bitch, do the math.
Do the math, bitch, do the math. 1 million paid in tax, bitch, do the math.
Do the math, bitch, do the math. 1 million paid in tax, bitch, do the math. I just curved cameo, she said I'm a Romeo. She gon' split me up and lit me up like Oreo. First global book deal, sell that shit to Indigo. Getting money since I was an itty bitty embryo. Save my money when I die for the fan. Always make a sale, cab to Moran. Shawty tryna play some games where I don't play Catan. I'm a plug, she an outlet, cut up Mr. Middleman. Yeah, I got ass that she wants to come see. Yeah, only speak the truth, hyperbole. God damn, I sound good on this beach. Extraterrestrial ET, flame suit, French letter, and my girl bad. Gatekeeper says open, I ain't coming back. 15-minute TED talk, collecting 40 rags. 1 million paid in tax, bitch, do the math.
Do the math, bitch, do the math. 1 million paid in tax, bitch, do the math. Do the math, bitch, do the math. 1 million paid in tax, bitch, do the math. Do the math, bitch, do the math.
Wait, I just had my first pink. I ain't have a job in 2 years, it was way harder than you think. Never thought I'd be the one to make it happen, I thought I would just sink. Funny how things change. Not a girl I really wanna link. Wait, everything 180, huh? Next stop a Mercedes, huh? Why my ego inflated? Cause old haters outdated. And to all the girls I dated, I'm really sorry I made it. And we can't even have a conversation anymore. My number's not the same. Damn, I'm on the same bullshit like a matador. And the VA sound like a dinosaur. Pretty little bitch that I ignore. She wanna get nailed to a 2x4. Everybody say they wanna see me score, but these days I don't really know no more. Hey, motherfuckers really hurt my core. If I keep going cool, they gon' pull my core. I'm on the same bullshit like a matador. And the VA sound like a dinosaur. Pretty little bitch that I ignore. She wanna get nailed to a 2x4. Everybody say they wanna see me score, but these days I don't really know no more. Hey, motherfuckers really hurt my core. If I keep going cool, they gon' pull my cord. And that's why I don't really got no friends. Circle same size since I don't know when. And I don't really know who want me to win, but that's the result of the city I'm in. I work like a slave, trying to get everyone paid. I want everything like Tim. What do I say? I just wanna pull up in the rain, make a car dash like Kim. Smile on her face, she can't wait till I get paid. I'ma take her far from her sins. Everything changed, it's a bigger picture in the frame. I ain't never looked back since. Said she want a steak, we already went to every place, so I had to take her out the crib. Incredible taste, but it won't last longer than a date. Because I'm on the same bullshit like a matador. And the VA sound like a dinosaur. Pretty little bitch that I ignore. She wanna get nailed to a 2x4. Everybody say they wanna see me score, but these days I don't really know no more. Hey, motherfuckers really hurt my core. If I keep going cool, they gon' pull my cord. I'm on the same bullshit like a matador. And the VA sound like a dinosaur. Pretty little bitch that I ignore. She wanna get nailed to a 2x4. Everybody say they wanna see me score, but these days I don't really know no more. Hey, motherfuckers really hurt my core. If I keep going cool, they gon' pull my cord.
Switch sides, so I can't do the loving. No, I can't do the loving. So they always switch sides, so I can't do the loving. You know, the dash now. Ayy. So I started from nothing. I got money on my mind and I know that it's coming. I know people switch sides, so I can't do the loving. When you down, they won't ride. Everybody just bluffing. Now they hitting on my line cause they see how I'm coming. And I'm finally doing fine. I've been counting these hundreds. And my baby gon' ride. She is not with the front. So I put in overtime, but look what I'm becoming. You can look me in my eyes, don't believe all the judging. So I do this for my people, we the best, you know. I got lots of problems, others stressed, you know. I'm just praying for the days I'm counting decimals. I've been riding with my brothers, for the rest they hoes. I'm knowing I'ma make it, I just gotta be patient. Gotta come from nothing, now I'm about to make a statement. Bitches probably want me, but they can't even face it. Ay, no, they can't even face it. So my brothers better make it out the basement. If she for me, then she know there's no replacement. I been outside, she see that I'm dripping, little baby know that I'm fly. No love for my city, who thought I'd make it this high? I know they all fake and the real in disguise. I've been to the most, I'm holding all this pain inside. These bitches would dump me, now I don't really gotta try. I'm stuck in all my habits, but I gotta have it. Spend a couple bands on a jacket. All this money on me, I keep stacking. Why do y'all acting? Why do y'all capping? Can't really say much, but I'm back up on my bullshit. We don't got it from my buddies, they with the movement. Keep your shit blunt, you cross it, someone get ruthless. I don't got time for no drama, that shit is useless. Got no time for no bullshit, no time for a bitch. If you keep it real, best believe I never switch on you. All the money in the world, I won't switch on you. I could get you all the pearls, diamond splits on you. If I got the whole world, I be missing you. I could drip you on our money and Da Vinci too. Got the labels always calling cause we making moves. I ain't stopping till I got it and I swear that shit true. So my brothers better make it out the basement. If she for me, then she know there's no replacement. I been outside, she see that I'm dripping, little baby know that I'm fly. No love for my city, who thought I'd make it this high? I know they all fake and the real in disguise. I've been to the most, I'm holding all this pain inside. These bitches would dump me, now I don't really gotta try. They gon' hate you when you down and I swear that shit true. They gon' hate you when you down and I swear that shit true. They gon' hate you when you down, but we still making moves. Yeah, yeah. You know the dash now. Ayy.
It's kinda like I just want it to be over. You can't take back what you said. I hope it's stuck in your head. I hope it hurts that I left. You know you can't replace me. I keep your text left on red. Tell me who's really obsessed. I'd say I wish you the best, but I hope it drives you crazy. No, shawty, she calling up a best friend. Going crazy at a party in the West End. See the pic, shoot like damn it, should I text him? But D&D, shorty, sorry, that's a dead end. You know you really had a chance, say you messed up. Down bad, cause you seeing that I'm next up. More clear for the body, I'ma flex up. Moved on, little baby, I don't stress ya. Down, say I'm back on road. Big checks on deck, got you mad, I know. Said you find somebody better, yeah, I hope. And I would say I miss you, but I know I don't. Yeah, way too over you, baby. No, I won't let you play me. I ignore what you're saying. Heart is full of regret. You can't take back what you said. I hope it's stuck in your head. I hope it hurts that I left. You know you can't replace me. I keep your text left on red. Tell me who's really obsessed. I'd say I wish you the best, but I hope it drives you crazy. 15 missed calls on my phone again. So much I could say, but I hold it in. I hope it hurts, no I won't pretend. But in the end I'll be okay. Either way I'll be straight cause it's over. Ice cold every time I try to hold her. Telling me I'm crazy and never giving closure. Blowing on my phone, I can tell you ain't sober. Thought I had a queen, but I really had a joker. I didn't wanna go, but my heart getting colder. And every now and then I think about when I would hold her. Now it's all over, I wish I didn't know her. But you can't take back what you said. I hope it's stuck in your head. I hope it hurts that I left. You know you can't replace me. I keep your text left on red. Tell me who's really obsessed. I'd say I wish you the best, but I hope it drives you crazy.
And welcome everybody to the Brian Mansell Show. As always, I'm your host, Brian Mansell. I'm a sports media professional who's been working in the NFL. I'm not NFL, my fault. I'm a sports media professional who's been working in the industry now, in sports media, for a couple of years now, and I've got a podcast, or podcast, whatever you want to call it. I'm a worker in the industry, but I'm here to give you guys a talk about everything happening in sports and in the sports world as a whole. So today, the main topics are Thursday Night Football. We're going to go over what happened last night, as well as some of the injuries that had deep effects on the way things turned out. As you guys can tell, I'm very exhausted. I did a lot. There was a lot of work I did yesterday. But for yesterday, we're going to go over what happened in that Ravens-Bengals game and some injury updates, some very serious injury updates involving guys like Mark Andrews and Joe Burrow. Following that, staying on the football topic, we'll be going into some NFL Week 11 predictions. So we're going to talk about some of the things that we saw. Some of the things I expect to see, some educated guesses, for what could happen. For the record, the reason why I said crunching numbers is I remember what exactly my picks were for the previous weeks. Just remember off intuition what I picked. And I've had two little bit of an interesting weeks. Like they're over 500 in picks, but they haven't been great. I've been getting like 5 losses every week. It's not working out too great. Records at 93 and 56. We're with the win yesterday, it's 94 and 56. So we'll see how it continues. But we're gonna do predictions regardless. College football, Week 12 games to watch. We're gonna talk about which games, if you're gonna bet or you want to see how things turn out in college football involving the playoff, we're gonna watch it. We're going to go through each game and decide, is it worth it or is it not worth it? We'll mark them down so that you guys know exactly what games to watch. Because every week I give you guys some, and they're either really, really good or they're blowouts that we just didn't see coming. And to close out, we're going to do our usual thing where we tour around all of the other sports leagues to see what's going on, anything new that happened with them. And the main one that we'll have as the final topic is national soccer news, as in international soccer news, technically. Because I said national in the sense of it involves national teams. So national teams for soccer had a lot of action yesterday involving European qualifiers and the CONCACAF. So we're going to go through all that and as well as do a quick little view through the other leagues and see what's going on with them. Whew. Man, I am exhausted. Man. I'm still doing it regardless. And I've got work later tonight, so I'm going to do what I got to do, But hey, If you guys are tuning in for the first time on Twitch, please consider following the channel. We're one follow away from hitting 20 followers for the channel. It's a huge goal we're trying to achieve here to kind of get more exposure for the channel. One follow would be phenomenal to help us hit that. If you're watching this on YouTube, please consider subscribing. We're working on some big content coming out. Tomorrow was supposed to be the day we do the college football imperialism, but I don't know if we're going to be able to do that now because I got called in late last night, asked if I could take a shift for the night, so I'm going to have to take a night shift on Saturday. If worse comes to worse, we'll try and do something in the afternoon. If it comes down to it, we'll do something around 12 o'clock, maybe do an hour or two, and we'll call that a day. And we'll make that a whole stream as part 1, and that'll go to YouTube, and then you guys can rewatch all that over there. So we'll figure something out. Either we're doing it tomorrow, or we're going to have to save it for next Saturday. We're going to do what we can. But hey, if you guys are tuning in once again for the first time, like I said, consider following on Twitch and subbing on YouTube. Now, down here on the ticker below, you guys see all the games. This is the latest slate coming on today. If you guys see something's up with the the NBA side, there is a reason. Today, the NBA is having games, but they will be different. As in, on the NBA side, they have the in-season tournament currently. I don't know why it takes so long for that to come back, but my fault. I'm talking about the ticker. But the NBA in-season tournament is today, so I don't know if these count against records or not, but nevertheless, this is what it looks like. Group play today: Milwaukee, Charlotte, Knicks, Wizards, Sixers, Hawks, Pistons, Cavs, Celtics, Raptors, Kings, Spurs, Magic, Bulls, Nuggets, Pelicans, Suns, Jazz, Lakers, Blazers, and the Rockets, Clippers. And on the NHL side, as you guys see for today's games, Toronto and Detroit, that's 2 o'clock, part of the Sweden Global Series. You have Buffalo and Winnipeg at 8, and you have Florida and Anaheim at 10. And that's the summary of the games that are on tonight. There's definitely some college football in there, but I didn't include it. You guys will see why. Nothing ranked, so I'm not going to really care for it as much. But regardless, we're going to have to get started here. So, without further ado, let's get right into the show and start off with a quick recap of what happened on Thursday Night Football. So on Thursday Night Football last night, Cincinnati took on Baltimore, and there was some interesting moments, to say the least. Now, let's see if you guys kind of get what I mean by interesting moments. That'll be the question. But let's see. I'm going to go grab back into my YouTube account, which, again, we are at 11 subs again, so thank you guys so much for subbing on the channel. It goes along. It really helps us a lot. Let's go find these highlights, shall we? So I'm only pulling up the highlights. We're not going to watch them. I'm just pulling them up to have them here. And we're going to use this as we talk about what happened last night. That's the only reason we're using these clips. As we go to the host-only windows, you guys know this is the window we use to watch all our YouTube clips and highlights. So we're going to pull that all up right here, right now. And here we are. So last night, as you guys may or may not know, the Ravens had themselves an interesting dogfight. And by dogfight, I mean they were supposed to be one of the best games on Thursday Night Football on the slate this season. The Bengals and the Ravens, always a great divisional game, but unfortunately there were some rough moments. You're probably going to see one come up here on this screen soon. Some rough catches, some rough plays. Again, Baltimore really offensively didn't take their foot off the pedal, and I was more impressed with Baltimore on one other thing. This is the play here, more than likely what you're about to see, involving Mark Andrews. That hit resulted in injury to Andrews, where he had to come out of the game on the hip drop tackle by Logan Wilson. And they have said that he's likely done for the year now, given the severity of his ankle injury. So he's done off that tackle. So you've already lost one guy for the year. But last night, Burrow was looking all right. The problem was, again, he got injured at some point late in the second quarter, and that really derailed everything Cincinnati was working on. That Baltimore offense was finding ways to thrive, despite the fact they didn't have the guy they were looking for. As in, despite the fact they didn't have their tight end, they found a way to still be successful and make plays, which is what we all wanted to see. Because if you don't have Mark Andrews for the year, you need a guy who's going to be able to do something about it, right? And improvise, make things work, use other weapons. That's what Lamar was forced to do, and he did a good job of that. They ended up winning this game 34-20, and some great performances en route too. But here's the negative thing in all of this. Really, Lamar has an injury now. He's dealing with some kind of injury. And there was a great play last night. I'm going to see if I can find it. There was a great play made by Odell Beckham last night. Yep, I found it. And Odell got hurt as well. So Browning is the one who came in to fill in for Joe Burrow after his injury. So with 7:45 left in the game, you will see here back on the highlight screen, this is where the play is, another injury. So again, Lamar got hurt in this game too, but he kept playing through it. We don't know the severity. He's probably day to day. But this catch here by Odell makes some great moves. Looking like vintage Odell in this game, over 100 yards receiving. But boom, there comes this tackle by Logan Wilson. Slams him down so hard, he went down hard on his left shoulder here, and he had a hard time getting up due to it. And they're just accusing him of being a dirty player now at this point because it just was not. Guys just kept getting hurt whenever he was tackling. And again, do I think it's a horrible coincidence? Yeah. But 3 guys all got injuries of some kind in this game. 1 guy is a season ender. We don't know the severity of Odell's injury. And at the same time, we also don't know how much of an injury Lamar has. I think he'll be fine, but it was scary. Logan Wilson needs to. The tackling he did was, again, all routine, but it could really lead to some injuries if you're not careful. And you can't ban a tackle that is so normalized. You can't ban a hip drop tackle. Like, it's basically you're wrapping a guy and you're dropping your hips down on his legs, your body on his legs, so he trips up and falls. But the problem is you can roll up his ankles could twist, break, whatever it is, and then boom, now the guy's got a sprain. Can't have that. Now, the update we do have right now with Joe Burrow to see what's going on, he specifically has a sprained wrist at the moment. We're still trying to figure out if there's more to it. X-ray is supposed to be coming out soon with the results to see if he broke anything or that there's any kind of damage to the wrist. If there is some kind of ligament damage where there's like a tear or something worse or even just a fracture, things are not going to be good for them. And they've got a lot to hold out for. They need to be better. They really do. Now, here's what I will say. I still don't have an update yet of what we're looking for. But hopefully that comes out today and we'll get an answer on what's going on with Joe Burrow, if it's a fracture or not. But there is something more serious going on involving the Bengals franchise, what's going on. So right now they're saying it's a sprained wrist for Burrow. Lamar has an ankle injury. That's how it's going to say. Zach Taylor says it's a sprained wrist. It could be worse. We don't know. But the NFL is investigating now why the Bengals didn't list Joe Burrow on their injury report when the team posted a picture of him wearing a device on his wrist Wednesday night. And he was also appearing to be hampered by that injury early in the Thursday night game that he later left. And we have the clip and video showing what it was. We have it. So I will show you what we're talking about. Here on this video here I can find on Twitter. When you look at this image, you see the thing on his wrist. I'll show you the full video live right here. As he's coming across, you see the device there on his wrist. It looks like some kind of a hand brace or arm brace of some kind. Usually something used to stabilize your wrist, more than likely. That was before the game going. This was going into the game, not coming out. This was going out of the game. I mean, this was coming to the game. Not leaving the game, that was going to the stadium, arriving at the stadium. So he clearly was injured in some kind of capacity, and it wasn't reported. So now the NFL has to investigate and see why wasn't it reported. They got to do a whole protocol thing. It's just not good. It's just not good. A lot of questions now about the severity of the injury. How much time is he going to miss? Can they survive with Jake Browning in the meantime? Because it's looking more and more likely that the Steelers are going to be facing a backup quarterback next week in Jake Browning. Which means it'll be back-to-back weeks that the Steelers are facing a backup quarterback. So they'll be gifted, again, an easier schedule because of this. They've had a very easy schedule at this point, despite the fact their quarterback is playing at the same level as Zach Wilson. Which is not a good thing. Because Kenny Pickett isn't getting the same kind of pressure and, heat that Wilson is. Wilson gets a lot of heat. The other guy isn't. So that's where I currently stand on this. As for the results of the game, Baltimore now goes to 8-3. They're well in control now of the AFC North. As for the Bengals, they fall now to 5-5. And being 5-5, I mean your 500 team. You're not necessarily out of the postseason. You still got some time to make up the ground. It just depends on how quickly you get your quarterback back or how quickly you get your main guy, your backup, to win some games. If he can win some for you, like against the Steelers next week, that would be big in Burrow's absence. So they really need to work some things out. They really do. They do that, and they can pull out a win, they'll be fine. But it all comes down to how much time is Burrow going to miss. If he has to be put on IR, it's going to be rough. It's going to be a rough next 4 weeks. So you can only hope for the best at this point. I mean, I don't even know what else to say. That was just a rough game to watch last night. Calling that game was painful because I felt so bad. Just really, really bad. But that's going to help us segue into our next topic. We're going to do the NFL Week 11 predictions now and get those out of the way. So here's a quick look at the NFL Week 11 slate of games. Let's go to Week 11, shall we? So as we've already spoken, I picked Baltimore last night to win, and they did so. They beat the Bengals. But what does the rest of the week look like? Let's take a look at Sunday's games and then Monday night as well. We'll save Monday night for Monday. So, Sunday. First game, Steelers-Browns, 1 o'clock Eastern on CBS. This will be in Cleveland. Dorian Thompson-Robinson with the start for Cleveland against the Steelers. This is not a game that's going to end very well. Yeah, this is not looking good. Pat Freiermuth is also out for the Steelers. He's still not back yet from his IR. I mean, they didn't technically take him off of the IR and designate him to return, but I don't think he's ready to come back yet. Minkah Fitzpatrick, Montravius Adams, Keanu Neal, and Cam Hayward are all questionable to play this game. As for the Browns, you all know Watson's done for the year. David Bell, Okoronkwo, the defensive end, Juan Thornhill, and DeJuan Jones are all questionable to play in this game. Spread is in favor of Cleveland with a -4, despite the fact that they don't have... Well, no, the spread is in favor of Cleveland and a -1.5, despite the fact they don't have Deshaun Watson. If you ask me, I think the Steelers win this game. I know it's weird to say that, but DTR has really not looked great. He didn't look good as one of his starts. So he ended up getting benched in favor of PJ Walker. So I guess we'll give him a second chance, but you better make the most of his second chance. I know this is supposed to be a really good Browns defense, but man, I don't believe it for a second. I'm taking Pittsburgh. I'm sorry. Their defense is going to get exhausted with how many times they're going to be on that field. Bears-Lions, this will be in Detroit, 1 o'clock Eastern on Fox. This is the return of Justin Fields to the NFL scene after sitting out 4 weeks on IR and letting Tyson Bagent do some work. The Bears are 3-7 in that time, are now 3-7. I believe that means they were 2-2 in the time that Tyson Bagent was the starting quarterback, which is a good thing because they were not doing great without Tyson Bagent. So he came to play in the Raiders game. They ended up winning the first one 30-12, lost the Chargers and Saints back-to-back, and then beat the Panthers last week 16-13 on Thursday Night Football. So now, and against Detroit, the return of Justin Fields happens now. Other injuries to note, Khalil Herbert is designated to return from IR, but he's not expected to play for Chicago in this one. Questionable to play as well this weekend is Deontay Foreman and Tremaine Edmonds, as well as Noah Sewell. For Detroit, on IR, you have C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Halapoulivaati Vaitai, which is one of their guards, starting offensive lineman. In the questionable zone, though, Isaiah Buggs, Jonah Jackson, Frank Ragnow. They should be fine. I believe those three should go. The guys in IR obviously can't go. So they're a little banged up in the protection side, but Goff will make things work. They've been doing really good on the ground. Bears defense hasn't been phenomenal, so I'm definitely rolling with Detroit here. I know Justin Fields is coming back, and you can't sleep on Justin, but you know what? I'm absolutely going to rock with the Detroit Lions on this one. So give me Detroit. Chargers-Packers in Green Bay, Lambeau Field, 1 o'clock Eastern on Fox. This one, Chargers 4-5 versus the 3-6 Green Bay Packers. In this one, the Chargers are favored with a -3 spread. And the other one, though, let me just confirm. What was the other one in the Bears game? The line in the Bears game is in favor of Detroit, -7.5. The line in this one is -3 in favor of the Chargers, who are 4-5 and trying to stay hot in this wild card race. Now, a win here would be necessary for them, but at the same time, anything could happen. If you ask me, you're looking at some interesting things. You have questionable designations for Keenan Allen, Donald Parham Jr., and Gerald Everett. So their tight end room's banged up, and they got their top receiver banged up as well. All likely to play. But they're going to have to tough out the injuries. For Green Bay, Rudy Ford, Quay Walker, Christian Watson, Aaron Jones, and Jari Alexander are all questionable to play. Give me 1 second. All right, we're back. Sorry about that, everybody. So, Chargers Packers. It is for. This is going to be an interesting game. Again, it is in Lambeau. It's supposed to be bad weather, a lot of rain. This means there's not going to be much of a passing match. It's going to be a lot of groundwork. But you know what? I think the Chargers can still pull this thing out. But every time, lately picking the Chargers has been a crapshoot. So I think I'm going to go with them again here. I think Eckler will do a lot better this game. This Packers defense is one of the worst in the league right now. It makes total sense to go ahead and rock with the Chargers to capitalize in a ground and pound game. So give me the Chargers. The running game for the Packers has not been good, like at all. So give me the Chargers. They're going to go to 5-5 and go to a 500 record. Raiders Dolphins 1:00 Eastern on CBS. This will be in Hard Rock Stadium at Miami Gardens, Florida. Sunny with a little bit of clouds. Miami's line in this game is a -13. That is absolutely outrageous. It will not be that close. Don't you dare. It will not be that much of a blowout. Don't even start with me. 91% chance of Miami winning this game. But I will tell you one thing that you have to believe and understand. This Raiders team is very different with Antonio Pierce. Do I think they're beating the Dolphins? Absolutely not. Do I think it's going to be a closer game than people want to let it be? Yeah, absolutely. Miami hasn't lost a game at home this year. It'd be funny as hell if the Raiders were the team that gave them that loss. But I think Miami's got them beating this one. The teams that the Raiders have beaten are easy teams. They've beaten the Giants and the Jets in the first 2 weeks of Antonio Pierce's time as head coach. So to me, I'm going to rock with the Dolphins. Again, I don't care what the injuries are, what the story is. That's who I'm going with. I'm going to stick with the Dolphins. Only because I haven't seen a real challenge yet given to this Raiders team since the injury, and they're going with Aiden O'Connell as the starter the rest of the way. So if they somehow make the postseason with Aiden O'Connell, I'm going to be stunned. But the Raiders are right in the hunt. They're at 500 now, thanks to those 2 wins they got against the Giants and Jets. If they beat the Dolphins, my mind is going to be completely fried. I don't even know who's going to be good in that AFC East. Will it be the Dolphins or the Bills? I will have no idea at all. Let's move to the next 1:00 game. Speaking of Giants, the Giants and Commanders, 1:00 Eastern on Fox. This will be at FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland. Washington favored in this one with a -8.5. Tommy DeVito once again starting for the New York Giants. If I'm being honest with all of you, I am probably rolling with the Commanders again. Commanders are having a lot of good fight lately. I would absolutely get on their train. I mean, listen, they have lost 3 of their last 4 games. They're really trying to break the trend. Same goes for the Giants. They are on a 3-game losing streak. Losing to Dallas, Vegas, and the Jets. But for the Commanders, they have lost to Seattle, beaten New England, lost to Philly, lost to the Giants. So they're lost 3 of the last 4. Lost to Giants 4 weeks ago, lost to Philly 3 weeks ago, beat New England 2 weeks ago, and then lost to Seattle last week. And again, they've all been fairly close games. And the Commanders need a chance to really get a win and make themselves 5-6. Giants still in the tank bowl, no matter how anybody wants to treat it. No matter what they're going to say in the media, they are in the tank bowl. So let's leave that be. The Commanders win this one. If the Giants win, the legend of Tommy DeVito and the Italian Stallion live on. I don't believe that's going to be the case, but the Commanders are my pick for this one. In terms of spread and stuff, I don't care about the spread. If it's a money line pick, I'm going with the Commanders. Now, in terms of everything else, you go now to the Cowboys and Panthers. 1:00 Eastern on Fox. This will be in Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. So Panthers are home. 1-8 versus 6-3. Cowboys trying to stay in the thick of the hunt for the NFC East division. They've got a fairly favorable schedule ahead of them. They're favored with -10.5 on the line in this game. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Dallas is a great team, but they have a bad habit of not playing well against bad teams. And it's a typical Dak Prescott thing to do. Don't forget, they lost to the Cardinals this year with Josh Dobbs. No heat on Josh Dobbs. It's just of all teams. In this game, there's really nothing else to say. Cowboys are not going to have Van Der Esch, Goodwin, or Hendershot. All of them are on IR or designated to return. For the Carolina Panthers, questionable to play is Steven Sullivan, the tight end, C.J. Henderson, Laviska Shenault, and Hayden Hurst. Designated return from IR, who is still not back yet and won't be ready for the game, is Ian Thomas. So 3 tight ends all banged up. Not a good look. Again, continuing to reinforce my point that Dallas will win this game. But to say that they're going to cover this line is a little bit too much. I can't trust Dallas with a 10-foot pole these days. And they've lost all 3 of their games on the road this year. 2-3, lost all 3 on the road. That will be a cloudy day, but should not be any rain. Same goes for the Giants-Commanders game. Let's go to the Titans and the Jaguars. 1 o'clock Eastern on CBS. Titans, Jaguars. Titans 3-6 at the bottom of the AFC at this point, close to the bottom at least, and the Jaguars sitting atop the AFC South. This is always a divisional game that's tightly contested. I wouldn't sleep on this game by any means necessary, or by any means at all. Everbank Stadium, Jacksonville, Florida. Jacksonville favoring this one with the line at 7. I wouldn't sleep on the Titans in this game. I could definitely see this being the upset, but here's the thing. The Jaguars are coming off a big loss. And that loss was to San Francisco. They won the last 4 games prior to losing to San Francisco. They'd beaten Buffalo, they'd beaten Indy, they'd beaten New Orleans, they had beaten Pittsburgh. They did not beat San Fran. San Fran smothered them and crushed them. The Titans, however, have lost 4 of their last 5. Indy and Baltimore were losses, beat Atlanta, and now have lost to Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay. So they really have not been playing well. They're not doing well. In terms of injuries, let's keep an eye on some things. Luke Gifford, Treylon Burks, Anthony Kendall, and Sean Murphy-Bunting are all questionable for Tennessee. As for Jacksonville, Zay Jones, Tyson Campbell, Roy Robertson-Harris, and Anton Harrison are all questionable to play. Parker Washington has a designation to return from IR. He's not going to be ready for the game, though. Chase Campbell, linebacker for Tennessee, he's still on IR. If I'm going with my gut tells me to go Jacksonville because they're going to have a rebound game. But if I'm going with my heart's telling me Tennessee's going to somehow squeak this. They are still yet to win a game on the road this year. And it feels like this has to be the point where they break it. Will it be to Jacksonville? Will it be to somebody else in the division? But also remember, at some point, Houston's going to catch up to them. So will it be this game that draws Houston closer to catching the Jaguars? That's what we're all trying to figure out. And to me, it would make sense. But right now, I'm going to roll with Jacksonville. I'm sorry, I'm going to roll with Jacksonville in this case. I'm not going to question it much further. I really want to go with Tennessee. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it enough of a conviction to go with it. Cardinals, Texans, 1 o'clock Eastern on CBS. Kyler Murray is back, and he won his first game last week against the Falcons. He's going up against this Texan squad. This Texan squad hasn't faced somebody like Murray in a bit. Murray's got a chip on his shoulder trying to make up some ground for the Arizona Cardinals here. But I wouldn't be surprised this is the game that Houston drops. This is going to be at NRG Stadium, sunny day. This is in Houston, Texas. Houston favored in this one with a line of -5.5. Guys that are questionable to play. For Arizona, it's Kevin Strong, Amari DeMercado, Zach Pascal, Jonathan Ledbetter, and Jesse Luketa. For the Texans side is Nico Collins, George Fant, Graylin Arnold, Brevin Jordan, and Noah Brown. That's where we currently stand with those teams. As for the actual units themselves, they looked like a much better cohesive unit with Murray leading the way, which is great. For the Texans, they have been on a roll lately. If you look at their last few games that they played, the Texans have won 3 of their last 4 games, beating New Orleans, losing to Carolina in the rookie matchup, but then going back-to-back, beating Tampa Bay and Cincinnati in last-minute game-winning drives. The Cardinals, though, they were on a 4-game losing streak prior to last week. With Murray back, they finally get a big win. They beat Atlanta to get their second win of the season. They are another team who is yet to win a game on the road this year. This will be a very tight and contested game. If you're going to do bet spread here, I'd bet in favor of Arizona with the +5.5 for them. I don't think they win, but I think you're safer just going with a +5.5 because this is going to be a game that'll be really close all the way to the end. But if you're going money line, I'd still stick with Houston. I like the way Houston's playing. I just don't know if Houston's like. With Arizona, there's a lot of questions, but I can't convince myself that Arizona would beat them, 9 times out of 10. I can't do it. Because I think that would be Houston who more likely would be able to pull that off. And Houston needs to keep pace with Jacksonville. So I think Houston wins this game. And knowing that Jacksonville's got to win their game, they don't have a choice. They got to do it. So I'm going with the Houston in this one. That'll be the final score. Let's take a look now at the 4 o'clock game. We've hit the 4 o'clock window. At 4:05 Eastern on Fox, it's the Buccaneers and the 49ers and Levi Stadium, Santa Clara, California. Sunny day with a couple clouds. San Fran's line is -12, and rightfully so, because Tampa is going to get absolutely smacked. As a Tampa Bay fan, they're going to get smacked. Give me San Francisco. Go on the 425 window. In 425, Jets Bills. This will be in Buffalo at Highmark Stadium, Orchard Park, New York. 425 Eastern on CBS. Buffalo favored in this one with the line of 7. -7. Allen looking like a shell of himself lately, but you know what? I don't see the Jets beating them twice in the same season. Give me Buffalo. They're going to be angry with the way they've been playing lately. They need a win to stay alive in this division race with the Dolphins. Give me Buffalo. 425 Eastern on CBS, you have Seahawks and the Rams. The Rams are home. SoFi Stadium, Inglewood, California. Seahawks favored with -1, shockingly. But I don't know if Matthew Stafford's coming back this week or what the plan is. I believe Stafford is going to play. From what I heard, Stafford will play this game. If he doesn't, it will be the Carson Wentz show. I believe it, though, it is going to be Matthew Stafford this week. Regardless, this will be a contested game. The Rams always give a good amount of fight in every game. If I'm being honest with everybody here, I am likely going with the Seahawks here. I know it's crazy because it's like I'm supporting all the lines here, but you know what? I just feel Seattle's got a better grip on this game. I just think they do. Seattle's got a good grip on the Rams, and the Rams are going to fall to 3-7. They've only won one game at home this year. The other two they won on the road. And I think that we're going to continue to see that trend. And finally, the last game we have, 8:20 Eastern on NBC, the Vikings and the Broncos at Empower Field at Mile High in Denver, Colorado. Denver favoring this one with a -2.5. I'm going to be honest with everybody here. The Broncos are not winning this game. I am all in on the Josh Dobbs train. Give me the Minnesota Vikings. They're going to get a big win here thanks to Josh Dobbs. There is definitely some injuries clearly to worry about. Alexander Madison being injured along with TJ Hawkinson and Caleb Evans. Supposedly Jefferson's coming back at some point. Not this week, but he'll be back for the following week, more than likely. So for the Vikings, this is a big deal. They have a possibility of getting all their weapons back, just not this week. But Hawkinson and Madison are banged up. They need them to, if they're probably going to go, but they just need them to be a little bit healthier. Things to watch in that game. They could make some injuries worse. So keep an eye on those two. And on the Denver side, their guard, Ben Powers, is hurt. PJ Locke, their safety's hurt, and so is Jerry Jeudy, their receiver. They're all questionable to play. But I expect them all to play for Denver, but they're all going to be hobbled. So I really think the Vikings have an advantage here. The defense can stifle the Broncos offense. I'm nervous about the Vikings offense and the Broncos defense. I think the defense could overperform. But nevertheless, I'm taking the Vikings to win this one. So once again, the indicated record that we had prior to this was a 93-56. We are already 1-0 on the week with the victory by Baltimore. So with the victory by Baltimore, we were technically at 94-56, but we are at 93-56 as of last week. Let's see if we can keep that streak going. I don't really project many upsets this week. I think this will be a week of a lot of favorites winning. If there's upsets, I'll know what are upsets. We do have some breaking news I am going to go into because it's always important to note. Cal Quantrill has officially been acquired from the Guardians. He's going to the Rockies. The Colorado Rockies have acquired the pitcher Cal Quantrill from the Guardians. He's going to be a big, big asset to their starting rotation. Congrats to them. In exchange, they gave up catcher Cody Huff, which again shouldn't be a big deal, but it's a big play regardless. So congrats to the Rockies on a big play, and good luck to Cal Quantrill in a new scene out in Colorado. What else is it? Another thing to mention, Chicago White Sox GM Chris Getz said today, I made it very clear that the White Sox are going to listen in on any of their players. So that's interesting. It's just going to be interesting. So it looks like they're going to be in fire sale mode. I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Now, that's going to do it for us in the Week 11 segment of the predictions. We're going to go into now college football Week 12 games to watch. Here are the most important games to watch here for Week 12. Let's take a look. Again, a pretty quick show today, but it wasn't expected to take too long here. So we'll go into and look at the scores and projected stuff. Let's go into the rankings more importantly and see what's going on. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Okay, post it on the wall so we can remember the scores and everything else. So that's taken care of. You, my good sir, are going in the trash can. And now, we take a look at the college football rankings, and I always do the thing where I say, show me the complete rankings, because that'll show me what the upcoming games are. So this week, things get interesting. We're going to go off the CFP rankings and where everybody else is ranked. Well, thanks to the CFP rankings, Georgia is back at number 1 following an amazing victory last week in a blowout fashion over Ole Miss, number 9 in the nation, 52-17. And Ohio State did blow out Michigan State as well, 38-3, but the committee felt that Georgia's win over Ole Miss was way more impressive, so they put them at the number 1 spot instead of the number 2. Here are the games to watch. Let's start off with the first one. Georgia this week, number 1 in the country, facing off against Tennessee, number 18 in the country, in the top 25. This is a big deal. This is a big game. Georgia needs a win here, clearly to stay in the top 4. If they lose to Tennessee, it's over, man. They don't have enough ground to make up there. They'd have to beat Alabama. There's just a lot of things they'd have to do to make that work. It's just much easier to win this game and call it. That's it. Just win this game, focus on that, you're done. But Georgia has number 18 Tennessee. Tennessee has no chance of making the playoff. All they can do is play spoiler. But that is a game to watch regardless. That is 3:30 Eastern tomorrow on CBS. So again, number 1, Georgia. And this is against Tennessee. And for the record, this game is in Tennessee. So the Vols have the advantage already because they are in their home stadium. 7-3 versus 10-0. Doesn't matter. Tennessee's always been a tough team to out. Number 2 is Ohio State. They're taking on good old Minnesota, the Golden Gophers. And in this game, that one will be likely to be, that's 4 o'clock Eastern on the Big Ten Network. This should be a blowout for Ohio State. It will be in their home stadium. But the Golden Gophers could pull off an upset. Who knows? We've seen crazier things happen. They're 5-5 on the year, though. So, not really I'm seeing that's crazy. Michigan, number 3 in the country, taking on Maryland. Maryland 6-4 and sitting at 4th in the Big Ten. Maryland looking to avoid getting crushed by Michigan, who does not have Jim Harbaugh, who's accepted his 3-game suspension. Harbaugh and Harbaugh and Michigan against Maryland is going to be an interesting matchup. Enough to really put up an upset alert? I don't know. I'm going to say you could monitor it, but it's not something to like obsess over. So I think Michigan, I wouldn't say it's something to obsess over, but you can monitor it. Not something to watch though. Florida State, North Alabama, that should be a wash game. Washington against Oregon State, this is a big one. Number 5 in the country, Washington. The Huskies have been playing really good football as of late and escaped a bad loss last week against Utah. They were able to escape with the victory, with a touchdown margin victory over the Utes. And now they got to face the Beavers, who are 8-2 and likely not making the playoff anyway. So let's keep an eye on that as well. We're going to put, so it is the UW Huskies and the number 11 Oregon State Beavers. This is a big game because Oregon State could easily, and this is in Oregon State. So again, on the road. Not an easy game by any means. Not easy. This game, if they are able to beat Washington, I think their hopes of getting into the CFP are pretty much dashed at that point. And Oregon's right back in the mix. They cannot afford to lose to Oregon State. They just can't. Oregon, speaking of which, is playing the Arizona State Sun Devils. They just can't lose. They just can't lose. They got to win. So, that's really it. You just can't lose. Arizona State's not a good team. They're not a good team this year. They're 3-7, but conference play is always difficult like that. You never know what to expect. Texas, number 7 in the nation, taking on Iowa State at Iowa State. Let's take a look at Iowa State this year. They are 6-4 and sitting second in the Big 12. Their losses were to Kansas, Oklahoma, Ohio, and Iowa. The only major team they have beaten this year that's notable is likely Cincinnati, but Cincinnati ain't really that good of a team this year. Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State Cowboys, that's the team they've beaten this year. The major team. For Texas, this should be a wash. But again, anything could happen. Alabama's playing Chattanooga next. Go number 9, Missouri. Mizzou. They're taking on Florida, the Gators. The Gators this year haven't been really that strong of a team, sitting at 5-5 and 4th in the SEC East. Their losses, they're on a 3-game losing streak, losing to Georgia, Arkansas, and now LSU. This week they got Missouri, and then they close out the following week against Florida State. So, we're approaching rivalry weeks next week. So they need some big wins. Let's see what they can pull off. But I think this should be a win for Missouri. If they can't win this one, Mizzou would be pretty much done for their CFP. They're finished. Because somehow they're still hanging around number 9. Louisville, 9-1 in the year, and number 10 in the nation, taking on Miami in Miami. They're taking on the Hurricanes. This is another one that's a little questionable. The Hurricanes aren't a bad team, but they're not a team that, is incredible by any means. Major wins they've had this year. You're talking the most incredible win they've had was against Clemson, beating them 20-20. The games that they did that were pretty brutal. They didn't want to lose. Losing to North Carolina and Florida State. Those are the main 2 ranked teams they did lose to. Last week was a very close one, though. They lost by only a touchdown to Florida State. Now they got Louisville here. Louisville, this game will be on at 12 o'clock Eastern on ABC. This is noon. That game would be one to watch. I think that one would be. Because knowing how Miami fought last week, I think with them, it's always a dogfight. I'd keep an eye on Miami. I think Miami could be a little sneaky like that. So, Louisville, Miami, they could easily beat Louisville, take them out of the top 10. They've been trying to play upset alert for a bit now. We talked about Oregon State, but let's look at Penn State, number 12 in the nation. They're playing Rutgers. Rutgers isn't a bad school. They could do some damage to Penn State, but I think Penn State's going to get that one. Regardless, though, if you want to watch it, you can, so I'll mark it down. I think Penn State's definitely a game to watch. So Penn State U versus Rutgers. This will be at Penn State, by the way. This will be at Penn State. So Rutgers on the road at Penn State. And number 12, Penn State, I should say. Number 12. And then you keep moving. Number 13, Ole Miss taking on UL Monroe. Pretty much a wash. Not going to worry about that one. Oklahoma up against BYU at BYU. This one is an interesting game, but I expect BYU to not lose this one, but Oklahoma has lost to some pretty bad teams. At this rate, they went on a 2-game losing streak, losing to Kansas and losing to Oklahoma State. You can't lose to those two. You just can't. And again, no knock on those 2 teams. You just can't lose to them. It's not excusable. LSU sitting at number 15, taking on Georgia State. Georgia State in the Sun Belt is 6-4 this year. Their losses were to teams that they really shouldn't have lost to. They're on a 3-game losing streak. This is their toughest game they have to play this year is at LSU. That's the toughest game on their schedule. Beating LSU will be celebrated by crazy, and they throw parties about beating LSU if they win. That tells you how important and likely that how important this game is for Georgia State and how likely it is that LSU is going to smash them. Iowa, number 16 against Illinois. The Illinois Fighting Illini usually aren't a great football team. They're 5-5 this year, so I wouldn't really mention anything about them in this one. Number 17, Arizona, who had a really rough start to the season and got things straightened out. They're going to be taking on the Utah Utes, number 22 in the nation, coming off a rough loss to the Washington Huskies. And this one will be in Arizona, so we're going to mark that down as number 22, Utah. Against number 17, Arizona. The Wildcats have been an interesting team to watch. 4-game winning streak. Some of the games they lost were a little questionable. They lost to Mississippi State and then took some hard losses to Washington and USC. People immediately wrote them off. They were off the rankings. Nobody believes in them. Then they went out and beat Washington State in a blowout. So now they're back on the radar. Then they go and they beat Oregon State, which gets them back on the radar. Then they beat UCLA, which gets them into the rankings. And then they beat Colorado, which brings them up higher in the rankings. Unbelievable. They finish out with Utah this weekend and then Arizona State right after, before the Bulls. Sorry, I had a cough. Number 18, Tennessee, we already talked about that. Number 19, Notre Dame, they're taking on Wake Forest. Wake Forest, I don't believe is a good team this year either. Correct, they are 4-6 in the ACC. Not a good number to go with. So, Wake Forest, you can just ignore them. I think Notre Dame should win that one. North Carolina, number 20 in the nation, taking on Clemson. That'll probably be a decent game. Clemson 6-4, and the North Carolina Tar Heels are 8-2. I would say Clemson would try to play some kind of upset alert here, so we'll mark that down. We'll say Clemson and UNC. So the Tar Heels, number 20 versus Clemson. Clemson would like to play upset. So we'll see. We'll see if they can pull that off. Kansas State, number 21 in the nation, taking on number 25 in the nation, Kansas. This one will be in Kansas. This is a rivalry game at its finest. So KSU against KU, which is 25. KU. That's another game to watch. Hard one to bet probably as well. Utah we already talked about. Oklahoma State taking on Houston. Houston Cougars, the football team, are not good this year in a surprising twist. 4-6. Not too good for them. You should expect Oklahoma State to win this one pretty handily. But they did lose last week to UCF in a shocker, which, at that rate, anything could happen. Tulane, 9-1 on the year. They're number 24 in the nation. Beat Tulsa last week barely. Now they're going to be playing Florida Atlantic this week. They're in Florida Atlantic. They have not been a good team this year. The FAU Owls are 4-6. Losses to Ohio, Clemson, and Illinois, as well as to UTSA, UAB, and East Carolina. This is one of their toughest games on the schedule by far, right here, Tulane. They're going to need a big win against Tulane here, of some kind. And sitting just outside the rankings, as we like to say, let's check the rankings, shall we? We don't have the votes registered for the college football playoff. But interestingly enough, the college football playoff rankings compared to the AP top 25s is very different. The top four is the same except for Ohio State at 2 and Michigan at 3. If you go through the AP top 25, you keep going. The next switches you have is that the AP has Missouri at 11, and the rankings have them at 9. Louisville's at 10 in the rankings. They're number 9 in the AP. Oregon State's 11 in the college football playoff ranking, in the CFP ranking, and in the AP, they're number 10. Penn State's 12 in both. Okay, everything else is pretty similar. Utah's number 16 in the rankings, in the AP rankings, while in the CFP, they are 22. In fact, the team that's actually sitting there at number 16 in the CFP rankings is Iowa. If you look in the actual AP rankings, Iowa isn't ranked. They're actually the number 26, if you would, with the others receiving votes. So they're not even in here, which is kind of shocking. Number 17 is in the AP is Tulane, and Tulane in this one is 24 on the CFP. James Madison is not eligible, as you guys may or may not know about the transfer rule when the college goes to a new league or upgrades up to a new conference in the FBS, coming from the FCS. There's I don't know how to describe it. I want to say it's like an ineligible period where they can't qualify for bowl games or qualify for rankings. So that's why they're not in the CFP rankings. That's why they could be in the AP rankings. It can't be in the CFP rankings until next year. Same thing goes for the CFP eligibility. They will not be in there or bowl eligible until after this year. So it doesn't matter if they're 10-0 and undefeated at 18 in the country. They're not going to qualify. It sucks, but it's the rule. Arizona, number 19 in the AP rankings. They are number 17 in the CFP. Tennessee 21, actually, yeah. Let's keep going with that. Notre Dame 20 on the AP, 19 on CFP. Tennessee 21 on the AP, but 18 on the CFP. North Carolina 20 on the CFP, but 22 on AP. Kansas State's number 23 in the AP, but 21 on the CFP. Oklahoma State 24, 23. And Liberty's not ranked. However, Kansas, who is unranked as well, is number 25 in the CFP. And I think the other team is there another team that's in there? No, not another team. Okay, cool. So that's a little interesting. Some things I've noticed here that were very unique. And the biggest dropper here is Utah. Utah being number 16 in the AP poll, but being number 22 in the CFP is kind of crazy. But, things happen. CFP doesn't always agree with what the AP says. It's their call. So, we'll see. We'll see. That's currently where everything stands at the moment. And that's where we are. I would talk about the FCS polls too, but I think it's kind of obvious. So South Dakota State is the top dog again. So I wouldn't worry much about arguing against the Jackrabbits, personally. I'd just leave it be. I would just leave it be. But yeah, that's it. That's it, folks. That is the story of the games to watch. So a quick recap of those games. You have 7 games to watch this weekend. UGA at Tennessee, number 1 versus number 18. Tennessee with the opportunity to knock Georgia off their high horse. Number 5, Washington against number 11, Oregon. Oregon State, that is. Number 11, Oregon State. In Oregon State, the Beavers have a chance to get right back in the CFP playoff picture if they can get the victory here. If they can beat the Washington Huskies, they can knock the Huskies down and make themselves a big riser and get up right back into the top 7 or 6 and try to squeeze themselves into the CFP rankings. Number 10, Louisville against Miami. Miami always an upset team, always plays close and hard. Wouldn't be shocked if they beat Louisville and knocked them out of the top 10, despite the fact that they're unranked. Rutgers at Penn State. Rutgers has been a tough, grinding team this year. They're not a pushover. They've been given a lot of fights to a lot of teams. They gave a good fight to Michigan. They've done it to Ohio State before getting blown out at some point in the second half. And it wasn't really a blowout. They lose by like 20. Not crazy blowout. Not like a massive 40-point blowout you'd see sometimes. No, this is a different Rutgers team. They have a little bit more fight and edge to them. I wouldn't be shocked if they put some good fight here against Penn State and force a close game. So keep an eye on that as well, because offensively, Penn State not looking too good. Utah, number 22 in the nation, against number 17, Arizona. That is the other game to watch. So the Wildcats on a big tear lately. Utah come off a big loss to Washington that pretty much sinks their fates for this year. They'll just happy with the bowl game. But Utah, regardless, is facing Arizona. Arizona rising up the boards. Utah can play spoiler to them. Number 20, UNC up against Clemson. Clemson may not look that good this year because they're not ranked and not good on paper, but overall they're still scrappy with Dabo as their coach. And facing UNC, the Tar Heels, you could easily take out Drake May if you play the game right. And I wouldn't be shocked if Clemson gets a good fight here because it will be in the Death Valley. And the final game to watch, Kansas State University, number 21 in the nation against number 5, Kansas. The Battle of Kansas, this is a big game to watch as well. These two schools always go at it all the time, and it's great to see. And it's also better football when Kansas is good. So Kansas and Kansas State up against each other at KU's campus. So that's another game I would watch. So that's all 7 I have for you. If there's any individual ones real quick, I tell you through the... I also go through the standings and guess, because I know that we have like projections or whatever. If you're talking about within the division, I believe, do they have a conference championship game? I don't think they have conference championship games here with the AAC. So Tulane currently got a 3-way tie in the conference for the top spot. That is with the SMU Mustangs and the UTSA Roadrunners. Go to the ACC right now. The current leader is the Seminoles of Florida State. Louisville right behind them. So this is a very contested situation. They're going to have an ACC championship game. They usually do. So Florida State would likely have to play Louisville as long as Louisville doesn't lose. Yep, that would likely be the case. They got to play on December 2nd. They have a championship game. So keep an eye out for that. The Big 12 Conference right now, Texas still leading the way at 6-1. Right behind them we have like a 4-way tie between Iowa State, Kansas State, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State. So any one of those teams can go in and end up facing the Longhorns for the right to the Big 12. It's not just a situation where you finish at the top, you get it. You're going to have to wait and see what's going on. Actually, let me just double check and make sure. I might be crazy. Yeah, no, I think, you know what? I think the Big 12 does have it, or they don't. I got to figure this out. I think the Big 12 does have a championship game. They have to. Or maybe not. I guess the Longhorns will win the Big 12 then. I mean, I could have sworn they had a Big 12 championship game. Conference championship. The Big 10 Conference right now, it's priming up to be Michigan versus Iowa. But the thing is, Michigan and Ohio State every year face off against each other once. They always do. That will be next week. That will be the game of the year. Michigan and Ohio State. 7-0 facing off against each other. The winner of that will go on to face the Iowa Hawkeyes from the West for the right to the Big 10. So it's between Michigan and Ohio State. In the CUSA, it's more than likely that the Liberty Flames are going to hold on to their undefeated record and claim that final spot. More than likely, they're going to do that, and they're going to claim their division. But it is also stating that apparently they will be facing the New Mexico State Aggies at the moment to close out the year, which would be very interesting. I don't know about that. It's going to be a little interesting. In the MAC conference, in the MAC, you're going to have the Miami Redhawks against the Toledo Rockets. Rockets pretty much secured their right into the conference championship. It's the Miami Redhawks that you got to worry about because they've got some fighting between them and the Ohio Bobcats for that final spot. In the Mountain West Conference, this will be another one that will likely be a conference championship. The Air Force Falcons at 5-1 are gonna have to face off against likely the winner of likely the UNLV Rebels. They're gonna have to fight for that final spot and face off. I'm pretty sure that's how they roll. I don't think they do. I think they do a conference championship. But here's the thing. UNLV does play them this week, so that'll instantly pretty much eliminate that if there is one. In the Pac-12, they always have a face-off of some kind. They always have a Pac-12 championship game. Washington currently holds that top spot. They would, at this moment, face the Oregon Ducks once again for the conference championship. But again, I'm not too confident. We're going to have to see what happens after this week. So again, there's a lot of conference championships that happen. That's the next thing you got to worry about because that's usually the final week of the year before you go into bowl season. So you got to keep an eye out for that for Pac-12. If you go to the SEC the Mountain West is next. Mountain West. Well, we did Mountain West, right? Yeah. We did Pac-12. Yep, we're going to the SEC next. Georgia has secured its spot in the SEC to go into the title game. They will be facing the Alabama Crimson Tide. So it would be Georgia and Alabama once again for the right to go to the CFP, as it is every single friggin' year. So I don't know how many years in a row this has got to be where Georgia played Alabama to close out the year in the conference championship. I don't even remember. I can't even keep count anymore. But this is going to be another big dog fight. I think this one would be I think this would be a neutral site like it usually is. And Alabama would be designated the home team in that sense. But Sun Belt Conference is the last conference that's in the FBS. The James Madison Dukes are the current champs. And if the season ends today, they would face the Troy Trojans. And the question is, are they even eligible for the conference championship? I don't even know if that's even possible. If they're talking about the eligibility issues, then guess what? Maybe they shouldn't be even part of that, you know? Like, I got so many issues with some of these things. It's a real problem. So the Dukes right now are the top dog in the Sun Belt. If they are not eligible because of eligibility issues, it will be the Chanticleers who will have to go back as 5-2 to go into this conference championship for the Sun Belt against the Troy Trojans. So that's where we currently stand in that sense. So conference championship season is right around the corner. We got to keep an eye out for that. Big deal. And we're going to close out the show now doing the last topic. We always go through every single sport and see some of the news going on and kind of address that first and do what we must do. So today, the main thing we're going to talk about is soccer. We have the national soccer news going on. And by that, I mean national teams doing a lot of action yesterday. We're going to talk about some of the things happening. There was a lot of qualifiers. So we'll go into that now. And it's continuing as well. There's more today. But in terms of what you saw yesterday, the most recent stuff, because I can go through this all day. A lot of international work happening. So we'll start with the first ones. In the CONCACAF Nations League, Dominica beats the British Virgin Islands, thanks to some goals from Marshall and Neville. St. Martin was unable to beat Guadalupe. Guadalupe beats them 2-0. So they're up 4-1 in the league right now. St. Kitts and Nevis against St. Lucia. They finished in a tie. In a draw. They did not have either team score a goal. They finished at 0-0. The Virgin Islands against Aruba. Aruba wins 4-1 over the Virgin Islands. Daniel, Ostiana, and Maria are the ones that get the win. Aruba is still yet to lose a game. Pretty impressive. United States takes over and faces off against Trinidad, and they beat them 3-0. No real contest from Trinidad. But they did have... What ended up happening was the United States took forever to score goals. They ended up scoring 3 goals in the span of 7 minutes to really edge it out here, thanks to goals from Pepe, Robinson, and Reyna. And the final one in that side was Costa Rica and Panama. Panama beating Costa Rica 3-0, thanks to goals from Murillo in the 4th minute, Gallardo in the 29th minute, and Waterman in the 60th. In the Euro qualifying, which is next year, Euros are next year, here's what's going on in the qualifying currently for the championship. Azerbaijan beats Sweden 3-0. And a little bit of a shocker. Makhmudov scores one in the 3rd minute, followed by Dadashov in the 6th. So they had a quick 2-0 lead. And then they scored the 3rd goal thanks to Makhmudov again in the 89th. So Sweden gets handed a bad loss. Bulgaria and Hungary tie at 2. They end up going to a dramatic draw. But with the draw, apparently Hungary has qualified for the Euros. And they did it with a game to spare because of a dramatic goal in the 90th minute in stoppage time. An own goal that's been credited to Petkov. That gave them the win. That gave them the draw and sealed their spot in the Euro. Cyprus and Spain yesterday. Spain won that one 3-1. Cyprus still yet to register a victory yet, or even a draw in this qualifiers. Spain is now closing on clinching their top spot in the Euro 2024 qualifying Group A now with this big victory they've had. Estonia took on Austria, and Austria obviously beat them 2-0. Something to watch there. Austria 6-1-1 at this point. Scotland and Georgia faced off. Scotland ends up drawing with a late goal by Shankland in the 90th in stoppage. So 93rd minute. And they end up drawing it 2-2. Scotland's already qualified for this, so they will likely be in this. They're going to be in the Euros next year. And now Liechtenstein takes on Portugal, and Portugal remains perfect thanks to help from Cristiano Ronaldo, who gets them their opening goal, and then Cancelo complementing that in the 57th minute with his own. So a 2-0 victory, and it keeps Portugal perfect on the way to the Euro, as they're now pretty much locked in to qualify. Luxembourg and Bosnia and Herzegovina. Bosnia loses to Luxembourg 4-1, and they have now entered the Euro playoffs with the big victory over Bosnia. Started by Olesen in the 6th minute. Rodriguez scores in the 30th on a penalty. And Mujakic gets a goal of his own, but it's an own goal in the 55th. And Rodriguez gets a second one in stoppage time in the 95th minute. Montenegro faced off against Lithuania. And in this one, Montenegro gets the big win. Thanks to goals from Kuch and Jovedic. And for Slovakia and Iceland, another good contested match. Slovakia was able to clinch their Euro spot with a big win, 4-2 over Iceland, thanks to goals from Kuka, Duda, and Haraslan. Goals also from Iceland being from Oskarsson and Gudjonsson. Something like that. I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, my pronouncing has been terrible, man. In the World Cup qualifying for CONMEBOL, which I believe would be South American, Bolivia took on Peru, and Peru loses to Bolivia. Bolivia gets their first win of the qualifiers, thanks to goals from Voa and Vaca. And Venezuela and Ecuador faced off, had a draw, so they're both 2-1, so no goals for either team in that one. Argentina takes on Uruguay. And Uruguay gave Argentina their first post-World Cup loss, Argentina losing 2-0, thanks to goals from Araujo and Nunez. For Colombia and Brazil, they faced off. Brazil ends up losing to Colombia 2-1, thanks to a brace goal from Diaz, who scored both of them in the 75th and 79th minute. Brazil did open up the scoring with a goal in the 4th minute by Martinelli, but Diaz seals it in the 75th and 79th to steal the win away from Brazil. And Chile takes on Paraguay. That finished in a tie as well with no goals and a couple red cards that were dished out. In the FIFA World Cup qualifying, this is in African nations. Or I'm guessing, is it African nations? No, the AFC is Asian. Okay, that is Asian side. All right, my fault. I don't know why I thought it was the African nations. Australia takes on Bangladesh in their first game. This was the opener for the qualifiers on the Asian side. Australia blew them out of the water 7-0. But Bangladesh just gets absolutely thrashed. With a hat trick from McLaren. Japan takes on Myanmar, and that was a very easy win for them. 5-0 there. Ueda with a hat trick of his own was able to secure that in the 50th minute. Philippines took on Vietnam. Vietnam wins that one 2-0. Thanks to a goal from two Niens, V Nien and D Nien. South Korea faced off against Singapore. South Korea getting their victory, 5-0 No competition from Singapore whatsoever. Thailand took on China, and it was actually surprisingly close. China ends up winning it, though, 2-1, thanks to goals from Lei and Shenguan in the 74th minute. That 74th minute goal is what secured the win for them. Malaysia taking on from the Kyrgyz Republic, which used to be known as Kyrgyzstan. Malaysia winning that one 4-3 in a nail-biter. Ended up securing the victory in stoppage time with a goal from Halim. Tajikistan and Jordan face off against each other. That ends in a draw at 1-1. Goals from Samiev and Yazan al-Nemat. Lebanon faces Palestine as well in the Asian Nations qualifier, and Palestine ends up securing a draw. Neither team was able to score against between Lebanon and Palestine. Turkmenistan versus Uzbekistan. Uzbekistan actually getting a big victory over Turkmenistan, winning 3-1. 2 goals coming from Shukurov and one from Shomurodov in the stoppage time in the 91st minute. And Durdiev was the one who scored the one sole goal for Turkmenistan in the 44th. Iran takes on Hong Kong and blew them out of the water 4-0. For Iran, those goals were scored by Azmoun, in 2 of them in the 12th and 15th. Taremi scores in the 87th, and Rezaeian scores in the 92nd minute in the stoppage. Iraq and Indonesia. Iraq with a big victory, 5-1 over there. No competition at all. Goal scored by Indonesia was by Parinama in the 48th minute, which is stoppage of the first half. And then there was also 5 different goals scored by 5 different players. Rezan Banyan scores in the 20th. Own goal, 35th minute by Amat. Jabbar in the 60th. Amin in the 81st. And Alamadi in the 88th. Oman took on Chinese Taipei, which again in this case would be Taiwan, because we recognize Taiwan here. We always recognize Taiwan and in their independence. Oman wins this one 3-0. Al-Malki and Pan and Salah were the ones who scored their goals in that victory. Qatar took on Afghanistan. Afghanistan stood no chance. Qatar with an easy victory, 8-1. With only 1 goal for Afghanistan coming from Sharifi. And you also had 4 goals scored by Almoz Ali, scoring in the 15th, 26th, and then 2 penalties in the 33rd and the 48th, which is technically the penalty in stoppage of the first half. Other goals were scored by Al Abdullah in the 94th, Ahmed Al-Aildin, and the 53rd penalty, Mustafa Tarek in the 18th, and Al Heidos in the 11th. In the United Arab Emirates, taking on Nepal, which I only know for them because of mountains. The UAE beats them 4-0. Alamadi Mabkut. Mabkut is the one who scored 2 goals actually for UAE. 36th penalty and 44th. And Lima scores another one in the 46th minute, which was in stoppage. Well, the first half. Kuwait takes on India. India secures their victory 1-0. Very simple win. Singh with the goal in the 75th minute late in that one. Saudi Arabia taking on Pakistan. And in that one, Saudi Arabia blew Pakistan out of the water 4-0. Goals from Al-Shari and Garib and Radif. But Al-Shari had 2 goals himself. 6th minute and 48th in a penalty. Syria took on North Korea, and as expected, North Korea did not play well, because they never play well in soccer. Syria with the victory, the goal by Al-Samah in the 37th and a penalty kick. Yemen versus Bahrain. This is the final one of the Asian nations for the FIFA qualifying to open it up. Bahrain with the goal wins this one 2-0 over Yemen. The goals come from Marhoun and Al-Zubairi. 38th minute and 40th own goal. In the World Cup qualifying, now we go to the African nations. We've now shifted to that. Not too many. Don't worry about this one, folks. There wasn't many in this one. Like I said, there is a lot of soccer. You guys are shocked by how much soccer happens. There's a lot. In the African Nations League, for the World Cup qualifying, Botswana starts off against Mozambique. That one was actually very close down to the end. Botswana tried to stage some kind of comeback. They were unable to do so. They came up short. Botswana loses to Mozambique 3-2. Botswana with goals from Telthang and Ngele, 74th and 85th minute. In Mozambique, I'm sorry if I'm butchering any names. I'm trying my best. A lot of the foreign names are really rough for me sometimes. I can't really study all the names to get their pronunciation down. I'm trying my best. Balk in the 14th minute, Retifo in the 52nd, and Muimomo in the 75th. So Mozambique really put the distance in the dagger and the nail in the coffin in the 75th. Botswana tried to come back with a goal by Ngele in the 85th, but they weren't able to secure a third goal before time expired. Burundi up against Gambia. Burundi with the big win. With goals by Bigirimana and Sabiumva and Abdallah. Abdallah in the 75th minute, really putting the game away. Even though Coley from Gambia scores in the 98th minute, which again, as you all know, was on a penalty and in stoppage time. So it was almost a garbage time goal. Algeria and Somalia. Somalia loses to Algeria 3-1. The one goal from Somalia comes from Ahmed in the 65th. For Algeria, 3 different guys scored 3 different goals. Abdi with an own goal in the 2nd minute. Bounedjah in the 31st. And Slimani in the 80th. That's who scored for Algeria. In Egypt and Djibouti, easy win for Egypt, 6-0. Mo Salah with 4 goals of his own. In the 17th minute, 22nd on a penalty, 48th, and the 69th minute, Mohammed in the 73rd minute, and Trezeguet in the 89th minute. And Gabon versus Kenya. Gabon gets the big win, 2-1. Buanga and Kanga with the 2 goals scored for Gabon in that time. Or Gabe, I'm really trying my best to pronounce it right. And Kenya is the 1 goal was scored by Juma, which was what opened up the scoring in the game. So he took a 1-0 lead, Kenya. And in the second half, Gabon took the lead back with 2 goals of their own in the 60th and 88th minute. Nigeria faced off against Lesotho, and that finished in a draw at 1-1. Goals by Ajayi in the 67th for Nigeria, and for Lesotho, I'm going to try my best to pronounce this. Mikwanatsi, and then it looked around like the 56th minute. So they opened it up, and then Nigeria tied it. Sudan versus Togo. That was also a tie, ending at 1-1. This one taking place in Libya. Aysat scores the goal to open up with a penalty in 17th minute. And Denki scores another one for Togo in the 43rd minute and ends in a tie. Cape Verde Islands versus Angola. This one in Praia. Neither team scores a goal. That ends in 0-0. And one game was canceled and unable to be played, which was Morocco and Eritrea, which we pretty much know Morocco was probably going to win that one. International friendlies, not much we talked about. Norway beats Faroe Islands, and Curacao and El Salvador tie at 1. In everything else, let's check. We're not going to talk about the under-17. Nothing about the Mexican Liga. We're not going to go into college soccer. I will not allow myself to go into college soccer. No. I won't do it. Euro under-21 qualifying, we won't do anything else. Nothing else in the other divisions. However, for games today, because I'm sure if you are a soccer fan and you're watching this, here are some games you guys can check out for today that are happening. For the CONCACAF Nations League, today the matchups are Montserrat and Dominican Republic, Barbados and Nicaragua, Bermuda, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Jamaica and Canada, Belize and French Guyana, and Honduras and Mexico. Jamaica, Canada are in the first leg of the Nations League, and Honduras and Mexico are in the first leg of theirs. So that means they're already in the tournament of some kind. In the Euro qualifiers, it's currently active right now. Finland beating Northern Ireland 1-0 at the moment at halftime. And Moldova losing to Albania 1-0 at halftime. The other games happen today in the Euro qualifiers. Denmark and Slovenia at 2:45. England and Malta at 2:45. Italy and North Macedonia at 2:45. A rematch of the team that pretty much took them out of the Euros last time. 2:45 as well. Poland versus Czechia. And that should be an interesting one. And the only game that played today that has ended is Kazakhstan versus San Marino. San Marino loses to Kazakhstan 3-1. 2 goals scored by Chesnikov, 19th and 51st minute. And Ainbatov scores again in the 92nd minute on a penalty. Once again, stoppage time, which is at the end of the game. San Marino's 1 goal came from Franciosi in the 60th minute. And in terms of everything else, the World Cup qualifying is that Asian category? Is it Asian? I think is... I'm just checking out the names. No, this is the African nations. I saw Ghana and immediately knew. Ghana and Madagascar tied at 0 with no goals so far. Well, I take it back. A goal in the 96th minute by Williams for Ghana will pretty much secure them the victory. They're going to win this one 1-0 over Madagascar. Liberia and Malawi. Malawi beating Liberia at this point 1-0. Goal from Mfasi in the 78th minute. Zambia and Congo are facing off now. Zambia winning 4-2 in the 92nd minute. This game's pretty much over. 2 goals from Daka, 1 from Banda, and 1 from Sakala have pretty much secured them the victory. Congo scored 2 goals thanks to Ganvula and Basuamina. Other games to happen today. 2 o'clock, Burkina Faso versus Guinea-Bissau. 2 o'clock also, you have Cameroon and Mauritius. Ivory Coast versus Seychelles, which will also be at 2 o'clock. There are actually a lot of 2 o'clock games. Next one, Mali and Chad. That would also be at 2 o'clock. And Tunisia and Sao Tome and Principe. That's going to be at 2 o'clock as well. Games have already ended today. Comoros Island played the Central African Republic, and Comoros wins this one. The Comoros Islands 4-2. Goals from Mdahoma, Yusuf, Said, Malida. For the Central African Republic, Abdallah Zahari. Both of them scores, both of them being own goals in the 10th and 74th. Eswatini taking on Libya. Libya beats them 1-0. That one took place in South Africa. The 1 goal coming in the 53rd minute by Karwa of Libya. Guinea and Uganda face off as well. Guinea wins that one 2-1 in Morocco. Camara and it looks, I think it's Cisse for Guinea win this one. 10th minute for Camara and a game winner for Cisse in the 94th minute. And Bayo scores a goal in the 30th minute for Uganda to force the tie. Ghana took on Madagascar. We already spoke about that. Williams getting the win as time expired. And Zambia and Congo faced off already. We already talked about the way that one went and how that ended. The other games to mention here that are still happening, anything else that happening today that you guys might note. Let's see if there's anything. There's the Women's League that they have for French Division 1. That's Lyon versus Dijon. Lyon in a complete domination this year, 7-0-0. Dijon still looking for their first win. Spanish La Liga 2, Real Valladolid is 9-1-5, up against the big game against Leganes, 11-1-3. Good game there. There's women's soccer today in college. European Under-21 Championship qualifying. I don't think you guys really care too much for that. Scottish League Challenge Cup. Falkirk versus Dundee United at 2:40. Hamilton Academical and Wraith Rovers at 2:45. And in the Dutch League divisions, FC Den Bosch, 3-1-10, so they're not too good. Same with Telstar. And in the 3 o'clock window for the Dutch League, it's Triple V Venlo and Willem II. Willem being the better team this year, 9-2-3. There's other leagues as well. I mean, there's just so many. I don't feel like I can go through all of these. I'm just going to go through anything else I see notable. Brazilian Serie B. Ituano against Capequense. I think Ituano's the better team so far this year, even though they do have a couple more losses and draws. Londrina against Novo Horizontino, which Novo Horizontino has been the better team this year, 17-6-13. There's Colombian League, Indian League, and Ugandan League. That's really all we got there for soccer today. Oh my goodness, I just feel like I went on a nonstop talking phase. Holy crap. Whew. Man. So yeah, a lot of things to cover. World Cup, they're already doing World Cup qualifying. The Euro is the more important thing right now. That's the next big thing happening along with CONCACAF. That's the big one to watch. Yeah, that's really where we're at. With soccer, they're focusing more on the national stuff right now. They're focusing more on the international matches right now. They're not really into doing the national leagues at the moment. So we're gonna see what happens there. But yeah, man. Quick comment from Carito MVP 11. He says Mac Jones getting traded. Who? Dude, if he gets traded, he better. Questions: if he gets traded, who would take him? Let's be real here. If he gets traded, who's taking him? I couldn't even tell you who would take him. Being so honest with you, man. Honestly, if Mac Jones if he gets traded, it would have to be after the season, clearly, because the trade deadline already passed. He should get traded, though. He absolutely should be moved. I don't think he stays in New England after this year. Same thing goes for Bill Belichick. I think he's done, too. New England's its own fascinating case. I told people before the season started, you're going to see the downfall of the New England Patriots this year, and everybody's witnessing it and acting like it's a big surprise. It wasn't. It started last year. And so now they're starting to see that Bill doesn't have it anymore. They're tired of the team. It's the same thing every year now. They're just not a good team. And Mac Jones isn't the answer. I think he needs a fresh scene away from New England. The Falcons could be a team, yeah, but I think they're going to look for more something in the draft. They're probably going to look for something in the draft. They're going to want for somebody who's mobile. They like mobility in a quarterback. And Mac Jones is, here's the problem with Mac. Mac is not your traditional quarterback. Mac Jones is more like what the quarterbacks used to be 20 years ago, which was a pocket passer. The pocket passer was more accepted and well-known and looked for, desired 20 years ago. He is a pocket passing quarterback. His running is not good. He's slow. He's immobile. So he's better off as a pocket passer, but he doesn't make great decisions. He psychs himself out of a lot of decisions, and it affects him big time. So it costs his team a good amount, and it just comes back to bite him. So yeah, it's just another sign of, it's the end of the times. Again. I don't think the Falcons can use a guy like that. I think they need a guy who's mobile, honestly. They need a mobile quarterback. So wait for the draft or see what's available in free agency. That's really all you could do at this point. That's where you're at. If you got any other questions, I'll feel free to ask them. I'll answer them. But if not, that's going to do it for the show today. Again, thank you all for tuning in and sticking around through the entire thing. I know I just went on a whole tangent about soccer. But I feel like, again, every league needs its respect and attention. So I'm giving the attention to soccer. It hasn't gotten much attention lately. I'm giving it now. So, once again, thank you all for tuning in. We will be back on Monday with another episode of The Brian Mansell Show, episode number 29, which should be in the morning. We'll be aiming around 11 o'clock in the morning that day. We're going to see what we talk about tomorrow. We're thinking about the idea of doing the College Football Imperialism series tomorrow live here on Twitch. If we do that, that will be at noon. If not, we're going to save it for another day, possibly for next Saturday. We do have a question. People giving Mac Jones problems because he's been talking to John Parker Wilson or Greg McElroy only. Is that bad? Here's the thing about that. Look, there's nothing wrong with McElroy. The problem is that he's a former Alabama guy. So with McElroy, it makes sense why he would kind of go talk to him. But with John Parker Wilson, what you're talking about is two former Alabama quarterbacks, and it's trying to help them out. But the issue is both of them didn't do really anything NFL related. That's the problem, Both guys it wasn't NFL related with Mac Jones. You know what I mean? That's really what's become the issue. And I've seen this time and time again. You got to go to guys who, I know you want to go talk to your former guys who are your alma mater. Because Parker Wilson and McElroy, if I'm correct, were both Alabama. McElroy's an ESPN analyst now. Neither guy really panned out. And if Mac Jones wants to pan out, he cannot talk to those guys. He needs to talk to guys who came out of big colleges and made things work and were able to be successful. You don't talk to people you went to school with, who went to the same school as you. That's not the answer. If you're going to do that, go talk to Joe Namath. Don't talk to them. There's a difference. You don't do that. And if there is guys I think he should talk to that were pocket passers that weren't very mobile but could run if they had to be forced to, dude, have him talk to Eli. Have him talk to Eli Manning. Eli Manning would be a great person to talk to for Mac Jones to kind of get some mentorship and to learn a bit. Not Peyton. Learn from Eli. Eli's got a couple Super Bowls to his name. Made things work coming out of a big school in Ole Miss. And from a big family of successful quarterbacks that made it in the league. It would be just smart to talk to Eli. Eli Manning would be a great answer to that. He'd be a good person to talk to. He would really help them a lot, honestly. And that's not coming from me being like petty or from a Giants fan perspective, because I'm not a Giants fan. I'm a Bucs fan. So, I'm just mean he needs to go talk to better people to get things straightened out. That's at least how I feel. He needs to talk to better quarterbacks for reference. But again, if that's it, if nobody else has any more questions, we're going to close out the show here. So once again, the College Football Imperialism Series, we're going to try and see if we can do the live stream tomorrow afternoon, hoping around 12 o'clock, depending on the schedule permitting. If not, we're going to save it for next Saturday out on the Thanksgiving weekend. So we'll do something on Saturday then. But until then, if you're sticking around for the morning show, it would be Monday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, here on Twitch and YouTube. John Parker Wilson works for Alabama Media Team, but he was known to be on practice field during Tua and Jalen and Mac Jones days. Oh, got you. Okay. So kind of like an observer could point some things out. He's on the media team. All right. I get it. All right. Yeah, I mean, the difference is that if you look at the three, it still blows my mind, though, in that QB room, all three of those quarterbacks, Tua, Jalen, and Mac, all of them made it to the NFL. Unfortunately, Mac Jones the least successful of the three. But hey, who knows? Things could change, and I think he just needs a new scenery. Just get out of New England. Get out of New England. And again, like I said, the problem is his type of quarterback, his play style, is a dying breed in the NFL. A pocket passer. They're now looking for guys who are dual threat. Guys who can run out if they need to, and guys who can throw if they need to. Again, look at every team. I'll break it down for you. Josh Allen, dual threat. Tua, dual threat. Zach Wilson, dual threat. Mac Jones, pocket passer. Okay? So that's one team that has a pocket passer. Kenny Pickett, pocket passer. Let's look in the AFC North, keep going. Joe Burrow has mobility too. So, I mean, they got to be a mobile guy. Mobile guys count in this case. I don't think Kenny Pickett's as mobile as people make him. I think Burrow's more mobile. Brian Dable did bring Jalen and Tua and Mac Jones down. Yeah, he did. He did. Did a lot of good convincing he did too. Got to say. Listen, Alabama's been blessed with some really good quarterbacks. It's just a shame that in their history, a lot of them really haven't panned out to the way they wanted them to, especially in the recent years. Like, we're talking like last 15 years. So, yeah, we're there. Burrow, Lamar Jackson, mobile quarterback. So, dual threat. Am I missing somebody? Am I missing somebody? The Browns, Deshaun Watson, dual threat quarterback. AFC South, Trevor Lawrence, more of a pocket passer, but he can move if he needs to and run if he needs to. Continuing the AFC South, Colts, Anthony Richardson, and Gardner Minshew, both mobile. Houston Texans, Stroud, mobile. He can run. He has the ability to run. Take a look at the Titans, Levis, that's a pocket passer. So Levis and Jones are the main pocket passers I've seen. And you could argue Kenny Pickett too, but he can run. He can actually run a little bit. So you got two pocket passers. Go to the AFC West. Aiden O'Connell, pocket passer. Patrick Mahomes is a mobile quarterback. Right? Mobile quarterback. Justin Herbert can run. And Russell Wilson can run. So, in the entire AFC, you got 3 pocket passing quarterbacks, 13 of them that have running abilities. In the NFC, if you want to go there, Dak Prescott could run if he needs to. Daniel Jones can run. Jalen Hurts can run. Sam Howell can run. Sam Howell likes to be more of a pocket passer, though, so that's 4. He can run, though. He can move. Go into the NFC North. Jared Goff, pocket passer. That's 5. Kirk Cousins, pocket passer. That's 6. Let's see what else we got. Justin Fields, running back. I'm kidding. Good runner. So Justin Fields on the mobile side. Am I missing somebody? Missing on Green Bay. Oh, Love. Love's a pocket passer. Tell me what you want. He's a pocket passer. So you got 7 pocket passers here. Again, it's a dying breed of quarterback. It's a dying breed. You can see Alabama, Mac Jones go back to Alabama to play for the Birmingham Stallions. So basically, he comes out of the NFL and goes to like the USFL type of thing, XFL, and goes to like one of those leagues, tries to improve himself, and then comes back. Kind of like what A.J. McCarron did. Okay. That's a possibility. That's a possibility. I mean, quarterbacks do all the time. Look at P.J. Walker's done it. There were a couple guys who made the NFL who were able to do that. So, yeah, I believe it. That's definitely something that could happen. You can see Mac Jones do that too, but he might end up being a backup after this. Just giving you the heads up. He might end up being a backup for the rest of his career this way. Let's keep going here. NFC South. Baker Mayfield is a dual threat. Desmond Ritter's a dual threat. Derek Carr's pocket passer, so that makes you 8 right now. We're at 8. And Carolina, Bryce Young, mobile. Go to the NFC West. Geno Smith, dual threat. Brock Purdy, more of a pocket passer, so we'll say 9. Anthony Stafford, pocket passer, 10. And Arizona, mobile. Kyler Murray, 10. So we're still at 10. So in all 32 teams, 22 of them are mobile. If you're going off pocket passing and their style of play, there's 10 of them that are still pocket passers. So we've had an overwhelming swing from guys who are pocket passers to guys that have went and have dual threat ability. And Mac Jones is in that pocket passing group, and he's the worst one of the group, unfortunately. So I'm hoping he gets his confidence back. I don't know if it's going to be in the NFL. It might be out of the league. It's whatever it takes. It's just got to be done. Plain and simple. He's got to get things straightened out and figured out. That's all it's going to take. So, yeah, that's how I feel. That's my personal opinion. I think he really needs to get things straightened out. The Patriots are detrimental to him. He needs to figure something out and get the change of scenery. That's it. And I know Bill Belichick's retiring at some point at the end of this season. Not even a surprise. He's going to retire. So be prepared for that. But again, if you guys got any more questions, feel free to throw them in. But that's going to do it for the show again, everybody. Like I said from the beginning, we're going to be doing college football imperialism tomorrow afternoon at noon, schedule permitting. If not, I'll put out a notice on Instagram. You guys can check that out up there. I mean, not Instagram, on Twitter. I'll put the update. So Twitter up there at BA Mansell. Twitter also known as X now. You can also check out my Instagram if you would like, up here at The Brian Mansell Show, and over here my YouTube channel, The Brian Mansell Show. If you're watching this on YouTube, please consider subscribing to the channel. We do a morning show. We do a show every weekday. We try to do them in the mornings with my schedule permitting because I do work a lot. So I'm going to do what I can to kind of fit everything in. If I got to work in the morning, I'll do a night show. If I got to work in the night, I'm going to do a morning show. Like, I always flex it around that. It's like today I got night shift, so I'm doing a morning show. So again, thank you all for tuning in. Every viewer helps so much in making this channel grow and become something bigger. Last question I'm going to take here from Corrito MVP 11 on YouTube. Mac Jones did ask Nick Saban for advice. I wonder what he told him. What he would tell him. Honestly, I think when you watch his decision making, my issue I have with Jones, and I'm going to tell you probably the same thing Saban would say. The kid's confidence in the pocket's completely shattered. He's got no confidence standing in there. It's bad. He'll sit there and he'll have a decision made and he'll throw it and it's just not going to the location. It's like when he throws the ball, it ends up coming a little bit short because he's not committing to the route or it's got less zip on it because he doesn't really want to put it there and he's second guessing himself as he's going for the throw. I feel like that's what it is. It's a mental thing. You got to break the mental. Once you break the mental of a quarterback, and he's got nothing to fear, nothing to second guess himself. He just goes with it and doesn't care. He's good. He's good to go. He will rarely make mistakes, and he won't let the mistakes bother him when he does make them. Mac Jones hates making mistakes, but he keeps making them, and he gets almost annoyed with it and fearful of it. So he's got to make some kind of change there. So it's a mental thing. That's got to be straightened out. That's something Nick Saban will probably tell him is that you got to get your mental straight. And I'm sure Bill said the same thing. Both guys are very good coaches in their own right, in their respective areas too. So, but once again, thank you all for tuning in. We will be back again Monday. If you guys can tune in for the Imperialism stream, which will be streamed and put on to YouTube the following day as its own video, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you're watching this on Twitch, please consider following. 1 follower away from hitting 20 followers on the channel, so please consider it. It helps us grow and get more exposure for the channel and everything we want to do. So again, thank you all again. We will see you soon. Have a great day, everybody. Oh, and I forgot. Enjoy your soccer action today. Enjoy hockey. Enjoy some basketball. And this weekend, enjoy Sunday football. Week 11. And college football tomorrow, too. Have a good day, everybody.
Oh, don't you worry, I'm gonna be there in a hurry. Life just ain't fair, but it still goes on, even if it's all wrong. Oh, but don't you worry, I'm gonna be there for you.
night that we got high, when I saw peace in them blue eyes. And the same night that we did fight was the first time that you did lie. Cause you told me you never wanted love, cause you never thought that you would be enough. But it takes time, we can learn to trust. I just wanna know if you gon' give us up and see. Always been trying to be the person you need to be clean, but you don't believe. Showing you I love you and gave you my promise that I'll never leave. I know you've been hurting, left it with knees. Your parents abandoned a person to bleed, but life had a mission to water a seed. A journey, I'm hoping you take it with me.
Oh, don't you worry, I'm gonna be there in a hurry. Life just ain't fair, but it still goes on, even if it's all wrong. Oh, but don't you worry, I'm gonna be there for you.
Leave, you wanna go, don't gotta deal with the trauma alone. I want a peace, I wanna cope. You are the reason that I feel at home, cause I feel the same. I melted away, it's due to the issues and all of the shame. I hope you can love me before I can change. Hope you forgive me for all the mistakes. You had to see shit, watch them leak quick. They ain't love you like I do. Get my whole life just to make sure that you knew that. And that's truth, I'll watch these nights pass you fade away, and it's getting worse when it used. While I'm knowing that it's on you, but I promise that we won't lose.
Oh, don't you worry, I'm gonna be there in a hurry. Life just ain't fair, but it still goes on, even if it's all wrong. Oh, but don't you worry,